not wanting Charlie's caricature to survive when the actual Charlie Kirk individual, who Charlie Kirk actually is so much more important. The caricature, the cartoon, is that Charlie's this young, smart guy, made a career out of debating college kids.
What they have told us about Lance Twiggs. Obviously, we're going to go over this indictment. This kind of came up in the umpteenth hour. I'm going to tell you my honest opinion on it. There's more going on here. Very clearly, there's more going on here. So you can join us here.
Charlie Kirk's death isn't just a tragedy anymore. It's a straight-up war exploding on every corner of the internet. And the one person everyone thought would be crushed in grief, his own wife, is suddenly being whispered about as a suspect. That's right. People are saying she might not just be mourning, she might have actually been involved. The second that rumor dropped, the entire internet lost its mind, and when Candace Owens caught wind of it, she went off like a bombshell. She didn't just speak up, she went nuclear. Now, the mystery isn't just who pulled the trigger. The real question is this: was the betrayal sitting right beside Charlie the whole time? That thought alone has turned this story into something way darker than anyone expected.
Thousands of people there, chaos everywhere, and the official story was that...
But before diving into Candace's fiery meltdown, let's rewind to what actually happened the night Charlie Kirk was taken out. Because the pieces don't point to some random gunman off the street. They're pointing straight inside his own circle. Here's what went down. Charlie was gunned down during a university event, packed with thousands of people. Chaos broke out instantly. Screams, panic, security scrambling everywhere. The official narrative, a 22-year-old named Tyler Robinson supposedly fired shots from a rooftop, but here's where things get shady. The police affidavit makes it crystal clear. This shooter had insider knowledge. He wasn't guessing. He knew Charlie's speaking schedule, the full tent layout, even the exact exit Charlie was set to use. That's not random, that's precision, fed to him from somewhere deep inside the circle. And then you got the fact that Tyler didn't just fire, he fired with terrifying accuracy. People who've seen the footage, horrific as it is, say the most chilling part wasn't just the chaos, it was his calm. No hesitation, no stutter, no shaking hands. That wasn't some rookie with a grudge. That was someone trained, locked in, and moving like he'd done this before.
Many people have seen the video as horrific and tragic as it is, but the one thing that was clear was that there was no hesitation, no delays or shaking. And that tells you that it wasn't some random guy with an agenda.
This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment act, this was an operation. Whoever Tyler really was, he had time, resources, and a plan stitched together to perfection. And you don't pull that off unless someone is bankrolling you, guiding you, and making sure you don't miss. Paid, protected, it's looking like both. And here's the craziest twist. Police only snagged him because his own father turned him in. Without that, Tyler might have vanished clean, leaving nothing but wreckage behind. That's not bad luck. That's cold, calculated strategy. The type that takes weeks, maybe months of planning, plus the cooperation of people close enough to feed him every detail. So when investigators started connecting dots, their gaze landed fast on the one person who always had access, his wife, Erica.
Posted a compilation of photos of her and Charlie, and each slide showed two friends growing together, being goofy and supporting each other.
And let's keep it real, when someone married ends up taken out like this, who's the first person law enforcement circles? Always the spouse. Sure, people grieve in different ways, and maybe Erica's social media posts were just her way of keeping Charlie's memory alive, but let's be real. Her words didn't sit right with a lot of people. Something about her tone felt off, almost rehearsed, like it was meant to prove something instead of mourn. And then Erica herself poured gasoline on the fire when she followed up with a post that had everyone's jaws dropping. She wrote, "You have no idea the fire that you have ignited within this wife. The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry. They should all know this. If you thought my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea. You have no idea what you just unleashed across this entire country and world." That post didn't calm people down. It blew the whispers wide open. Suddenly, the talk wasn't about sympathy anymore, it was suspicion. Neighbors started coming forward, spilling stories about how Erica and Charlie were getting into explosive fights about money, about finances that never seemed to add up. And then came the bombshell, rumors of a multi-million-dollar fortune at the center of those fights.
Already very difficult for me to do this for a lot of reasons, but I knew it was important because I didn't want the last thing that people had in their minds about Charlie to be the moment he lost his life. That was what was especially hard because he's just had so many amazing moments throughout his career. And as I was saying, I was having this discussion with George this morning, obviously through a lot of tears. about not wanting Charlie's caricature to survive when the actual Charlie Kirk individual, who Charlie Kirk actually is so much more important. The caricature, the cartoon, is that Charlie is this young, smart guy, made a career out of debating college kids, decided not to go to college, started Turning Point USA. And I think a lot of people thought that Charlie must take himself a bit too seriously. And I want you guys to know that that could not be further from the truth. Charlie and me were always laughing. Yes, he was ambitious. Everybody knows Charlie is ambitious. I met him back in 2017 when Turning Point was this very young organization.
Okay, so we're receiving so much information. We have the exclusive for you on the mysterious trans boyfriend's family, what they have told us about Lance Twiggs. Obviously, we're going to go over this indictment. This kind of came up in the umpteenth hour. I'm going to tell you my honest opinion on it. There's more going on here. Very clearly, there's more going on here. So you can join us here.
Now the internet is connecting the dots at lightning speed. Was this tragedy really about ideology, or was it about cash, power, and secrets buried in bank accounts? Was Erica grieving or covering tracks? And that's when Candace Owens jumped back in. Already known for calling out fake conservatives and shady backroom deals, she pounced on this as proof that the betrayal wasn't some random outside job, as Candace Owens made it clear. This betrayal didn't come from politics, it came from inside Charlie's own home, and she wasn't about to sit back quietly while the world looked the other way. When Candace finally broke her silence, her words hit like a gut punch. Raw, unfiltered, and soaked in equal parts grief and accusation. It felt like she was mourning and exposing at the exact same time.
So you can join us here.
Here's where the whole saga blew up into something way bigger than anyone expected. Candace didn't wait for prosecutors, detectives, or polished press releases. She went straight to her socials and unleashed. She started amplifying posts that were already catching fire online, posts hinting that Charlie's own wife had played a role. And one post in particular flipped the internet upside down. It read, "If this man's own wife set him up, every single conservative who stayed silent should be ashamed. He wasn't betrayed by politics. He was betrayed by his pillow." That phrase, betrayed by his pillow, went nuclear. Screenshots hit timelines like wildfire. TikTok edits were pumping within minutes, and the phrase trended across platforms overnight. Suddenly, this wasn't just about Charlie Kirk's murder anymore. It was about Candace Owens herself and whether she had just confirmed what everyone had been whispering all along. And she wasn't finished. Because while critics tried to dismiss her retweets and likes as just conspiracy chatter, nobody could deny the raw heartbreak pouring out of her own personal tributes. Candace Owens didn't just talk, she showed the world what Charlie meant to her. She dropped a compilation of photos, slide after slide of moments that captured two friends growing together, laughing, supporting each other, being human outside the chaos of politics. And that post, it exploded. Not just because Candace has a massive following, but because it was the one tribute that actually made Charlie's death about him. The man, the friend, the person he really was. Even people who hated Charlie Kirk, his loudest critics, admitted Candace's tribute broke them down. They said it made them cry, made them feel his absence in a way nothing else had. And fans weren't blind to the contrast. They pointed out that this was the kind of heartfelt post you'd expect from his wife, not the cold essay-style statements Erica pushed out. Candace made it personal, raw, and unforgettable, and she didn't stop there. Candace went live, holding back tears as she spoke for nearly half an hour about the man Charlie was outside the headlines. You could see it in her face, her eyes glassy with grief, her voice breaking as she struggled to keep it together. This wasn't performance, she was shaken to her core, and it took everything in her to finish that tribute. That wasn't just mourning, that was defiance. It was Candace standing against the silence, against the shady cover-ups, and refusing to let the world forget who Charlie really was, or how betrayal may have played a role in his end. But Candace wasn't about to stop at tears and tributes. Oh no, she turned herself into a one-woman investigator. The second police announced their probe, Candace was already digging, connecting dots, and hunting down the truth for herself. She wasn't waiting for press conferences or polished reports. She wanted answers, and she was determined to get them. So when authorities finally dropped the official indictment against Tyler Robinson, Candace was right there, first on the scene, breaking it down for the world. The indictment hit with 7 heavy charges, including aggravated murder, and the stakes couldn't be higher. If Tyler's convicted, court records show prosecutors are pushing for the ultimate penalty, the death sentence. And for most people, that sounded like justice finally coming down hard. But not for Candace. She wasn't convinced this was the full story, and she wasn't afraid to say exactly what others were too scared to whisper. On her Instagram stories, she dropped a chilling message. The indictment against the person who murdered Charlie has just been released. And this very much feels to me that we are getting part of the story, but not the full thing. That single post was enough to light another wildfire of speculation online. Suddenly, everyone was back to asking the same questions. Was Tyler just a pawn? Who was pulling the strings behind him? And what was really going down in the shadows leading up to Charlie's final moments? And if anyone thought Candace's outrage was just for show, they were dead wrong. Her live reaction said it all. Her voice cracked, her hand slammed the desk, and the rage pouring out of her was raw, unfiltered, and shaking with grief that had now mutated into full-blown fury. And Candace didn't just fire shots at Charlie's wife. She had smoke for every single person she believed played even the slightest role in his death. Candace knew things about Charlie's private battles that most people in his circle either ignored or were too scared to talk about. She claimed the pressure on him was suffocating, political enemies, backroom deals, and threats stacking up against him like a ticking time bomb. Then she dropped a bombshell that rattled the internet. She name-dropped billionaire Bill Ackman. According to Candace, Ackman tried to bribe Charlie into shifting his stance on Israel. When Charlie refused, the threats allegedly start flying. Candace said it got so intense that Charlie even considered softening his views, not out of politics, but out of sheer desperation to stay alive. Except, he never got that chance. His story ended before he could make any kind of move. But the fallout didn't stop with Candace's revelations. The cracks started showing in Charlie's perfect family image too. Remember, Charlie always bragged about having this strong, untouchable, traditional family. He wore that like a badge. But now, that picture-perfect image is shattered. Behind closed doors, it's chaos. Reports say his own parents flat out don't believe Erica's version of events. They believe Erica knows way more than she's letting on. And allegedly, Charlie's own parents have cut her off completely. No calls, no visits, no protection, nothing. But on the flip side, some of Charlie's in-laws are circling the wagons, insisting she's being scapegoated by the media frenzy. That split alone proves the once tight Kirk circle is collapsing in real time. And adding fuel to the flames, Candace Owens herself, because every time Erica dares to speak, Candace hits back even harder, doubling down on her accusations. But there's still another layer to all this. The shooter himself, Tyler Robinson, a 22-year-old white male. You'd expect the media to go all in on him, blasting every detail of his life across headlines. But instead, the coverage has been strangely muted, almost cautious. That silence only sent Candace into overdrive. She went live again, this time demanding that people pressure the system for real answers. And here's where she shocked everyone. Candace even tracked down and spoke with Tyler Robinson's ex-boyfriend, trying to piece together who this guy really was. That rant got clipped and spread everywhere, sparking the question, why is the media soft-pedaling the shooter while laser focusing on Erica? Why is the wife under a microscope instead of the man who actually pulled the trigger? That's when the real fallout began. A movement started to grow, not just among her fans, but even among people who despise Candace Owens, saying she might actually be right this time. And Candace, she hasn't backtracked once. She hasn't deleted a single word. To her, this isn't a theory, it's the truth. And that's where things stand right now. The question is whether Candace's rage is about to blow the lid off the biggest betrayal in conservative politics, or whether her fire ends up burning down whatever is left of Charlie Kirk's legacy. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and drop your thoughts in the comments, because this story is only getting started and you won't want to miss what comes next. See you on the next one.